it's been a little while, but I'm back. I just got out of one of my morning classes, but while I was in there, I couldn't help but think about a pressing concern that has been on my mind lately, and quite honestly, it's been on my mind, um, since I got out of rehabilitation for my habitual drug use back in April of 2015. And, here I am at Monmouth University in between classes. So I just want to share a little bit about what I was thinking about. And that main concern is responsibility. I know it's a simple word, and we hear it a lot, especially growing up as kids. We hear it even in our adult lives. We hear it, um, but I just want to touch on a few things. And um, responsibility is important. It's very important. As a strong characteristic of somebody who is successful. So I want to talk about responsibility in terms of being not responsible for simple things like taking out the trash or doing the dishes, but I want to talk about responsibility in terms of um, being responsible for our words, things that we say, being responsible for our actions, and being accountable. Um, so, a little bit about me and my issue with this strong characteristic that evaded my ability for a long time. Even still does sometimes, today. But um, so I had no responsibility. I blamed a lot of things on other people. Responsibility starts with the self, and recognizing that we are our own people, and nobody can take that away from us. So that being said, regardless of the situation that you're in, um, regardless of the person sitting across from you, who may be antagonizing you, um, regardless of where you are, who you're interacting with, um, responsibility for your own words and actions are very important because only you have the power to control what you think and what you say and how you respond to people and what they say to you. So for a long time, I I had no accountability, no responsibility. My words were not my own words, and my actions were not anything to do with who I was, and that was my mentality, which is clearly wrong. um, so I would blame things on other people. Growing up, we all have our issues. Someone may have been abused growing up. You may have been bullied growing up. You may have grown up homeless, poor, in an orphanage, without a mother or father. There are a multitude of different scenarios, um, and that's what makes us unique. However, regardless of the situation that you grew up in, it's not an excuse for how how you act, and who you become as an adult. We have one of two choices. We could let our situations and the things that have happened in our lives break us down, or we can let it build us up. Um, and I'm a firm believer in these things, becoming strong components of who we are, and building our characteristics of successful person. So that being said, I for a long time I blamed my drug use on my parents. I blamed it on my injuries. Um, the misfortune that happened to me. I lost a lot of scholarships when I tore my ACL and I blew out my knee completely in high school. I lost a lot of scholarships, and I use that as an excuse for why I was, why I was depressed, why I was angry, why I was arrogant, why I had a lot, had a lot of hate for other people. Ultimately, it was no excuse, and you know, as you all know, it led me down a bad path. So again, I just want to reiterate the main point of being responsible for who we are as people. Um, because sometimes the words that we speak and the actions that we convey um, in our lives can have a big impact on people, whether we know it or not, and whether we want to believe it or accept that fact or not. It is true. Um, because there are a lot of people out there who, are in a weakened state of mind, as I was at one point, and even the slightest thing could have had, such a huge negative impact on my life, and you know, we need to encourage those people. We need to lift those people up, and share with them, our testimonies. Be transparent with them. Again, back to that transparency, and making ourselves vulnerable. Because in vulnerability there is strength. Let that sink in for a second. In vulnerability there is strength, because you are choosing to say to somebody, you know, here are my weaknesses. I'm going to lay them before you, and show you that I'm just like you and just like everybody else, but I own them, and it makes me strong because I recognize my weaknesses and I choose to deal with them and my fears instead of running from them and suppressing them, and then they manifest in other ways in our lives. So, I'm just speaking from personal experience. Every individual may be different, but let's all start being more responsible for the words that we speak, and the actions that we portray, towards others, because, ultimately, um, you never know how you're going to affect somebody, even with your words. Um, so, yeah, that was the pressing concern that's been on my mind today. So I just want to thank everybody, for tuning in and listening, supporting me. Again, if you haven't, just like and subscribe. Um, I'm trying to reach as many people as possible. Um, you know, I want people to have the support that they need, and to understand that they're not alone, and that we are all more or less feeling and experience the same things, maybe just at different points in our lives or in different ways. Um, but the human condition is real, and we are all subject to it. Thanks.